Well, good morning, Happy New Year, and welcome to our morning meditation. I'm the Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III here with this message that I hope will inspire you and encourage you along the way. Every year and every day and every month and every hour, we're faced with all sorts of challenges along life's way. And it's good to be able to take moments to reflect and remember all of the jewels of wisdom that we've received along the way that help to aid us as we journey through life. Some of those jewels of wisdom come through our own personal families, those who have come with us and in our lives, who poured into us. Some of those jewels come from our own life experiences. Some come from places where we've learned and we've read things and we've discovered things. And some come from our spiritual download that comes from our God or our relationship with God along the way. Whatever it may be, I hope that as we journey along during this time, that you'll pull from those resources that might help you along the way as we share these moments of meditation. There are times in our lives in which we have to be still, stop, and then kind of deal with what we're dealing with to take a moment to allow for our souls to catch up so that they can be healed as we journey along. Well, today's morning meditation is entitled, yeah, The Questions, entitled The Questions. I've discovered there are times in our lives when life has shaped us, impacted us. I thought about all those things that I needed to say today, and I wrote them down here. There are moments in our lives in which events and circumstances will challenge us at the very root of our core beliefs. They will challenge our ability to know we're okay, to ability to think about our own identity, where we're from, and who we're with. They'll challenge the decisions that we've made along the way and who we've chosen to be with or how we've made those decisions. Life can do that to us. It can wreck us. It can move us and bring about the formulation of many, many questions. So today I am now giving time and direction and energy towards those questions because what do you do when you start to question all the things around you? Question those in whom you've trusted and selected as your friends, or those whom you found yourself spending time with, or things that you have given your energy to. When you have these questions, they need to be answered. And sometimes those questions sometimes linger a while. And we ought to be careful about how quickly we answer the questions. The questions speak to who we are and where we're from and why we're doing what we're doing and how we're going to accomplish what we have chosen and believe is important to us and how we really feel about what's happening in our lives and what's going on in our larger community. All of these things matter to us because they bring about the development of questions. However, I want to say to you, it's okay to have questions. In fact, questions are the launching pad for the answers that we'll need. If you didn't get questions, you won't really understand how you are formulating your thoughts and why you're making decisions that you're making or who you've chosen to be with. So questions are okay. It is important for me to say to you that as you are journeying during the course of this year, most of the questions that you ask may not get an answer right away. But over time, you'll discover that the questions are developing a discipline for us so that we can start thinking about our lives and how our lives are impacting others. And if we had not had the questions, we might not appreciate the real life that we've been given and the choices that we've been given to make for our own destiny. So, here's the story I want to present to you. It's a wonderful story. It's kind of interesting. One of my favorite shows. It's a show entitled Love Is. And it's a series, if you will, that came out back in like 2019 and 2019. And it's a story, it's a love story. It's an ongoing series by Mara Brock Akil and Salim Akil that reflects on a couple, that focuses in on a couple who's trying to kind of reflect on 20 years together. And as they have gone back, they go back to their history when they first started, and there is the storytelling of how they had a rocky start and some rocky moments along the way. The first few weeks were interesting, and it is important for them because it forms the bedrock of their relationship. But also, it reminds them of the questions they had before and the ones they would have in their current life, and how to deal with questions as they arise. There's a moment when one of the lead characters, his name is Yasir, has some troubling things that are happening in which the love interest that he has some questions. And that particular series, that episode is entitled Her Questions. And the next episode is entitled His Answers. Well, I won't spoil it for you, but what I hope that you will be able to develop from what I'm sharing with you is that there is a time period, a moment in which it's okay to have questions and let the questions linger. Ask yourself the questions. In fact, I'm encouraging you to live into the questions, lean into the questions, love the questions, laugh at the questions. You see how I said that? Learn from the questions. The questions are important. Don't run away from the questions in life, because some people will spend their time running away from questions, avoiding questions because they are afraid that they don't have the answers. And most of us don't. But it is in leaning into the questions of life, leading yourself into the questions of life, loving the questions of life, that we discover that the questions in and of themselves are shaping of our character, shaping our commitment, shaping our lives. So don't be afraid of the questions. It's important to embrace them. Who am I with and why am I with them? Where am I going and why am I on my way there? What did I say and why did I say it? The questions are important. Don't hide from the questions. And maybe you can't answer them. You don't want to feel like you have responsibility to other people to tell them your answers, but don't lie to yourself. At least live with the questions on your own. Why am I here? And what am I doing? How am I different now in 2025 than I was in 2024? What choices am I making that are different than the ones I made before? Who are my friends and who are my family? Are they leaning into me or am I leaning into them? Is this life giving or is it life taking? All of those questions are important. Even if you don't know the answers, it's important to live with the questions. Because the questions, my friends, bring us to the place where we can finally discover the answers. Someone said, now, if you are preparing yourself to paint a picture and you want to be an artist, you at least need to have a vision of how it should come out. And that vision comes with the questions. Now, the answers. I'll get to the answers next week. What I want us to do is to lean into the questions. So here's your assignment. I want you to write down 5 questions about your life that don't have answers, but you need answers to. 5 questions. All those things that are important. I won't tell you what they are. They'll be your questions, but they're about your life. Where are you now? What are you doing? Why are you doing it? Who are you doing it with? All those things. And how do you feel about those things that are happening in your life right now? Write them down somewhere. And then next week, we'll try to wrestle with the answers. I am not proposing that I'll have answers for you. No way, no how. What I am saying is that before you can get to the answers, you have to start with the questions. Well, that's where we are. I think it's important to know that because that, my friends, is the beginning of prayer. Prayer is the idea of unanswered questions that are offered to God. And we talk to God in communion and communication. The problem is that when God asks us questions, we don't have answers, so we avoid them. And sometimes the answers are right before our faces, if only we would ask. the right questions. Well, that's our morning meditation today. I hope that I have challenged you as you begin your new year, and I have laid out something that I hope that you will do for yourself. Yes, questions unanswered can be mind-boggling, but I want you not to be afraid of the questions. Lean in to the questions. You might discover that the questions might present the answers right before you if you ask the questions that are needed. Ask yourself the questions, and you might just find the answer right behind them. Well, have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great year. In fact, have a great life. It's the one life we're given. And remember that you're loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. So go ahead and lean into those questions. The answers are not far behind, and you'll discover that you'll get clarity and be able to commit to something that's worth having if only you have the right questions. Have a great one. Take care. Bye bye.